right. All right. Man, countdown. That was fun. That was fun. So, all right. All right. It's been a little bit. Haven't been live for a while, so just making sure I got everything set up here. But look, we're ready. We're getting ready for another Duke basketball season. I think it's going to be a fun year. It was nice to see all the players. Well, we'll get to that in a second. Out on the court for countdown. No JD tonight. He double booked himself. It's what happens, But he'll be back once we get ready for the first exhibition against UCF. And I just want to go through. We'll read through the comments from you guys, but just for now, want to go through some of the different notes I had from countdown tonight because I think we don't learn. Hold on, let me make sure this is set up right. Yep, okay. And okay, yeah, we don't learn, a ton. We don't learn a ton, right? But it is fun. You get the unofficial start. So what were some of the things I noted? Well, we're gonna go from the start. We're gonna work from the intros to the scrimmage. So from the start, Malik Brown, as we all know, this is not his cup of tea. He does not want to be out there. This is just not his personality. We know what Malik is like. On the flip side, Iffy seemed to enjoy it. He had a fun time out there. Cam Boozer did the jump on it. That was fun. I thought Dame Sar was the best dancer. And then we got the Duke from Patrick Gangba. Can't say the last part of that. There's no Jared McCain's or Stanley Borden's this year. No singers or real big time performers, I would say, on this year's team. But how about that? We got a big surprise guest appearance from Mr. Jason Tatum, who Coach Shire said is going to be helping out this year. And with a lot of the rumors going on of late, got my Tatum jersey on right now. The only time I wear a Celtics jersey is for Mr. Tatum. And he said, he's going to be helping out this year. And with that, there's a lot of rumors of late of Tatum coming back earlier than people said. He had apparently this new type of procedure for his Achilles. Maybe he does come back in March, April, but it seems like he's going to be around the program. And how cool would it be if you're one of the recruits or even guys on this team and it's Jason Tatum? Like, that's awesome. Let's see here. Then we have the 3-point contest. Darren Harris wins the 3-point contest, but I think the more fun part of it was watching Chris Carrawell get his shots up there. Looked good until he got to the top of the key there, and then it kind of fell apart. But he was good from the corners, and the break extended there. So, fun. That was fun wrinkle for Countdown this year. Then we get to the scrimmage, and it was like the first 7-8 shots from the scrimmage. Nobody could miss. We had Darren Harris start off with a mid-range pull-up 2. Then Seabass with the 3 off a Caleb Foster assist. Darren Harris 3 from Cameron Boozer. Isaiah Evans contested 3. Cam Boozer too strong inside for Hemenia. Then we get the first miss from Isaiah Evans, but it turns into a Sebastian Wilkins offensive rebound and a Caleb Foster 3-pointer. And then it's a Caden Boozer 3-pointer. It's like nobody could miss. It was crazy to start this scrimmage just with the 3-point shooting. But what was cool about that is that was one of the things I thought coming into this year would be a real strength for the Blue Devils, and that seemed to show early on. Now, other things I noticed, like what are some things I noticed from this scrimmage that I think I don't think we can really like take them into the exhibitions or to the real games, but just what to watch for, things I think could be some positive signs. Number one, I felt like the 3 sophomores looked good, particularly the Paul VI guys. Yes, Isaiah Evans was doing his thing, hitting 3s, but honestly, the blocked shot he had was honestly more noteworthy to me because we know he can shoot 3s. We know he's going to get those shots up. None of that was new. The block was a nice aspect and a continuation of what he was building on at the end of last season. But for the Paul VI guys, Darren Harris looked just so much more confident and comfortable out there. What I really loved from Harris was not the shooting, which, I mean, his release is quick. There's no dip. It's really impressive. But it was actually, he had that really nice touch pass, that feel for the game in the transition where he got the ball. I forgot who passed it to him, but he quick dump off pass to Iffy, which led to a foul. So I really love that part of his game. And Patrick Gongba, the only thing I'm worried about for Gongba this year is foul trouble. He just looks so ready to take on a major role for the Blue Devils. I love the fact, I thought in our preview, I thought he could showcase it here, and he did. He knocked down his one and only three. He blocked at least one shot. He's just a really solid center who's really versatile. You know, he can pass the ball, he can score inside, he can knock down the three, and then defensively, we'll have to see. That was the one area last year where there was a big difference between him and Malawach and Brown. I hope this year that can be shored up. But the fouls, he did pick up 2 fouls in the scrimmage. So that's going to be something I'm going to watch in the exhibitions as we get ready for the start of the season. Caleb Foster, it's tough to really take much from this game from Caleb Foster. But overall, the one thing I will say, as a collective, I thought they did a good job of getting into the passing lanes. There's several guys, whether that was Isaiah Evans, Dame Sarr. I think Sarr actually passed a couple of them that were stolen, but he also got one back. It just seemed to be a common theme of guys getting out into the passing lanes, and that seemed to be something that was drilled in to these guys, which is, I think, going to be really good for them getting out in transition and getting easy buckets. The Boozers, Cameron Boozer played well. Caden Boozer, I think, had a moment early, but then largely I feel like was just within the flow of the game, but didn't necessarily stand out. The other freshman, Dame Sarr, we touched on a little bit. He had a nice drive to the basket, a couple of turnovers. We'll have to see how he does. I think there's a lot of competition on the wings this year, and I'm really not sure who's going to end up starting. I know coming into this, my prediction was it was going to be Evans and Sarr, but the way Harris looked, and then Hamenia also played well, I could see some different lineups for Coach Shire, especially earlier on this season, as he tries to figure out which guys he wants to start. But I also think there may not be a large separation early on between who gets major minutes versus who's coming off the bench. However, we're going to have to get, as we get more information, I reserve the right to adjust that, because I think we know, like last year, for example, the big games early on in the season, the Kentucky game, the Arizona game, he quickly shortened the rotation to like eight guys. And I'm curious what's going to happen there, especially because I thought Sebastian Wilkins played well. He knocked down a couple of threes. He had a good rebound. For the guys, the last addition on this roster, I thought he played well. And it's going to be fun to watch him moving forward. And lastly here, I want to say, boy, can we get Malik Brown healthy? Can we just get this guy healthy? He's such a vital player for this Duke team, and it's a real bummer that he couldn't. I mean, maybe not so much for him other than the playing part, because we know what type of player he is, but it would have been really great to get him out on the court. I hope he's going to be ready to go by the exhibitions, and this isn't going to be something that lingers into the start of the season, because that is the one. I think we're really deep with our wings. We've got, enough point guard play and wings who can pass between Foster, Caden Boozer, and the wings, where we can cover an injury there or foul trouble there. But the bigs, I really feel like, is our position where if Brown is hurt or Gongba's hurt, both guys were hurt last year, or if they're in foul trouble, it means Boozer's going to have to play a lot more of center, and it limits the size of the team. And so I think getting Malik Brown healthy and having him stay healthy is going to be really important for the Blue Devils this year, because we all know what Malik Brown can do defensively. I think this year there's going to be more offense from Malik Brown, whether that's the three-point shooting, a little bit more, just being a little bit more aggressive. Like at Syracuse, he was much more aggressive getting to the basket, slipping, rolling to the rim, being more active in transition. I think we could see a little bit more aggressive Malik Brown this year. All right, so no JD. I'm not going to go too long here tonight. Let's see. Raymond, he says he's been a Duke fan for a long time. Excited about this great event because Duke basketball is back. And he's from Naples, Florida. Shout out to you, Ray. Good to have you on the program. We're going to be covering each game and more. So what we do on this, for those of you guys who are new, Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. We cover every game, exhibition, and as we're doing right now, the scrimmage. And what we'll do for each game is we'll have a preview and then a live post-game reaction immediately after the game. So usually it'll be me and my dad, JD, who will join me on these shows. Sometimes it'll just be me. Sometimes it'll just be him. But we'll cover every game, pregame, postgame. And then we're also going to try to do like a college basketball podcast this year. But I think it's going to be a fun year for Duke. I think this is going to be a really good team. Again, similar to last year. But we're going to have to see, can they be as good as last year's team? Because we know last year's team was not good. They were great. They were great. And it's a high bar to get to. But I think it's also important to remember, guys, as we get warmed up in this year's team, last year's Duke at the start of the season was nowhere near where they were at the end of the season. So we got to give these guys time to figure it out. Laura. Hey, Laura, how are you? Welcome back, Duke basketball. Love the new beginning. Yes, new beginnings. That's a great point, Laura. It's always tough when the season ends, but you get this new, it's new life at the start of the season. You got new players, new guys to look out for. Apparently, maybe a new assistant coach with Mr. Tatum. So I think it's gonna be a good year, another good year of Duke basketball. This is a really deep team, and outside of Cameron Boozer, it's tough for me to say. Like, I think as of right now, if you were to ask me who's going to be the second leading scorer, I would say Isaiah Evans. But could it be Caleb Foster? Sure, I guess. Could it be Dame Sarr? Sure. I think there's going to be a lot of competition, which is good. And I think what's awesome about the way Coach Scheyer put the schedule together is we're going to get answers, not answers, but we're going to find out more information about this team quickly. We're not going to get a ton of games where they're beating the other team by 30, 40 points, and we really don't learn a lot. We're going to learn a lot from the scrimmages, and then we're going to learn a lot with the first game against Texas. So I think it's going to be really good for us Duke fans to learn about this program pretty early on in this season. And then I think as the year goes on, Coach Scheyer is going to figure out, maybe it's Foster is the starting point guard, and Caden Boozer, I got to be careful with that. Caden Boozer is going to end up being the backup. I know I've waffled on that. I'm just going to say that right now. I've gone back and forth. Is it Caden Boozer? Is it Caleb Foster? From what we've seen from some of the YouTube clips and the videos, it does seem like Foster's in with Cameron Boozer at the very least, which I would say is the first team. But we've also seen a lot of different lineups in these videos with different combinations of especially the wings. I got to keep going back to that. Like, we've seen times where it's Sarr and Homenia. We've seen times like today it was Sarr and Darren Harris and Homenia and Evans. And I just think Coach Scheyer is still tweaking, figure things out. He's going to use the scrimmage to do so and the first few games of the season. And so I think we're going to learn more. But, I want to say one more thing before I get ready to sign off here. I was reading something on Twitter where some other college basketball teams are kind of getting away from these kickoff events. And it was funny to me listening to Homenia when they were talking about the players getting ready for this, and he was saying, it's going to be the first time. Well, actually, we did have that open practice, which was pretty cool in August, I think it was, where they got, the first time there's public, there's fans out there. Maybe some of you guys were out there. But, this was the first time where they got a packed, real fan experience from the students. And I think these types of events, I love the addition of Coach Carwell. I don't remember if they did a three-point shooting contest last year. I don't think they did, but if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments below. I just think they build excitement. You bring out a guy like Jason Tatum, which is cool, but you also get an opportunity, in the pregame, which I think is a really smart program thing. They showed the picture of Scheyer, Tatum, Jordan Smith, who's a Poli-6 guy, I think is coming to Duke next year, and then I believe it's Collins. I forget his first name, but another highly rated recruit in next year's class. And they just get a little bit of, early time with Coach Shire. Tatum's there, and I think it goes a long way because other programs aren't doing something like that. And I think you just get this thing like it was, and you get the students chanting, "Come sit with us." There was a few years ago, it was Isaiah Evans who went and sat with the student section. So I think those things go a long way with recruiting. And I do think these things matter. And not just like for the guys right now, but the 7th and 8th graders who are watching this, who are going to end up being big time college recruits, and are going to be more likely to come to Duke because, this has been what's in great. Look at Sebastian Wilkins. Like that's a great way to go right now. Like Wilkins, we've all seen the pictures, or if you haven't, look him up. When he was in middle school, he wanted to come to Duke. They have the picture. Now they have a new picture with him at Duke. And Wilkins is the guy who hits the first three. What color was he on? Quickly. For the blue team, he hits the first three, and then he hits the game-winning three to wrap it up. And Wilkins, for a guy who, was a late commitment, a reclassifying guy, I really liked his game, guys. I really liked his game. So I think it's going to be a fun year. Again, I've said that about 7 times, so I'm going to stop saying that because it's redundant at this point. You guys get that. Shout out to you, Shay Gorman. Appreciate it. And Lee Thacker, guys, come back. Please keep coming back. I'm going to have, like I said, JD's going to join us. Hit that subscribe button. We're going to build this thing, and we're going to cover Duke as much as we can throughout the year. Also going to post, clips on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter, or X, I guess as it's called now. So make sure you follow us there. And yeah, probably let me check the calendar real quick so I can let you guys know when we'll be back with the preview for the Blue Devils and that scrimmage against UCF, which I believe is at near the tail end of this month. I'm just pulling up my schedule right now. So that is going to be, let's see, we have that targeted for, that scrimmage is going to be Tuesday, October 21st. I don't have a time for that yet, but once we do the preview, we will. So that preview will probably be about 4 or 5 days before that. In between, we're going to do some college basketball podcasts in general, and then I'll drop in some Duke videos talking about specific players as we build up. But once we get to that point of October, guys, it's going to be coming fast and furious. We're going to be getting a lot of Duke content for you guys. So let me know what you guys, as always, what you want to hear from us in the comments below. If you guys want to be a part of the show, let me know. I think we're going to build this thing into one of the bigger Duke shows, Duke basketball shows out there. Yeah, Laura, if I remember correctly, you were at either the NCAA tournament game or the ACC tournament games last year as well. So you're out there. I love it. You're at the open practice. Oh, in Cameron. Nice. That's cool. I got to go to Cameron last year. They had like a practice as well. That was really cool, but it wasn't the open practice, which I think was even better. Got a picture with Shire. By the way, guys, Shire gets that 6-year extension. And the other day I was looking it up. He's still 38. I feel like the guy's been around for 30 years already. Just going back to his playing days. Then I feel like he was a coach for 10 years. And it really feels like now, I think it was like Bleacher Report or somebody put it as like Coach K's replacement. But that's not how I'm looking at this now, guys. This is Coach Shire's team. I don't look at him as Coach K's replacement anymore, especially now in year 4, especially coming off of a Final Four appearance. He has really settled in as the coach of this team. And for the guy following the guy, as we've all heard, that's not who you want to be. What a tremendous job he's done, just picking up right where Coach K left off. And honestly, taking it further, because with where college basketball is at, with the modern landscape, it is such a year-to-year game and position for these programs where you don't get guys typically who are going to stay multiple years. Now, Duke's had a couple. Tyrese Proctor. It was a little bit weird seeing Countdown, and you don't see Tyrese Proctor's hair flying around everywhere. It's a little bit weird. But Caleb Foster's now for his 3rd year. So what I'm getting at, though, is he's really adapted to where this game is, and I think that's part of the reason. It's not part of the reason. It is a lot of the reason why Coach K stepped down. He's been able to take what Coach K built and just build upon it, and he did so by bringing in a lot of different people to help him do it. And he went outside of the brotherhood, and that started with Rachel Baker, who has been a tremendous addition as the GM of this team. And I think we saw with what North Carolina went through last year and their kind of panic in hiring a GM last year, how important that position is. And then we've seen him bring in other coaches who are not, necessarily part of or not part of the brotherhood, but have had big additions. Like I really loved listening to Coach Brad's Mic'd Up. I really felt like you could learn a lot from that guy. I think he's a great addition to the program. But then also bringing back brotherhood guys like Coach Thornton. So I think we are in for a great season of Duke basketball, and I will see you guys more officially in a couple weeks, but I'll be dropping content in between. So stay tuned to Talking Ball. Until next time, guys, peace.